What's up, everybody? It's Ford Tech Steve, and well, it's raining outside. Thank goodness for our project being inside. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe. If you're returning to the channel, thanks for your continued support. We are doing our part 2 of our 408 stroker today. This will probably be the last real build video for it today. We're going to do the top end. I'm still waiting on some parts like a front cover, as well as an oil pump. So the front cover and oil pan won't be going on today, but we're going to focus on getting the drivetrain done. We've got our new push rods, so we're good there. We just need to go ahead and set everything up in the front or top of this engine, and probably even get the intake bolted on today, and then it'll be front end of the engine later, and see what else we can get done. So thanks again for joining, and enjoy the video. Here is the current state of the engine. So we got the push rod lengths and everything measured in the last video. Today we're going to install the lifters, as well as the dog bone and spider kit, to be able to hold those in place. And then hopefully we'll be able to get everything lashed today, all across the top for all of our valve lash. We should be good there. We'll get the intake on, and we might even go ahead and stab the distributor just to have it in there and ready to go. And then we'll just basically have the stuff in the front and the bottom of the engine due yet, and we'll be in good shape. So to start out, you'll see that there's some red engine assembly lube in there. I went and just dribbled that on each cam lobe, as well as the gear in there for the distributor, and we'll be using that throughout the build. Once we get all the lifters in here, which they're currently over here soaking in oil, so I've got those soaking. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and drop those in the engine here, and when we put this thing together, we'll continue using the engine assembly lube just to lubricate everything, so that when we do go do our first fire up, it's not going to have any dry metal on metal surfaces. We want to avoid that at all cost. Alright, so I got the lifters in here in this oil pan. We're going to start dropping them in. We'll get them laid in there, then we'll move them to the right orientation, and then once we get them to the right orientation, we'll put the dog bones in. That should be it for the messy part. Alright, so now for the dog bones. These are labeled of which way is up. Those are all in. More of the engine assembly lube. And now for the spider itself. Alright, so I went ahead and just dropped our push rods in there. So they are in. Those are the trick flow that we spec'd out last time. 7 inches, 950. Now, one thing I want to put into perspective here is these guides are adjustable, and you can see that like that one's not quite in a line. So gonna have to pay attention to that. A lot of these exhaust ones look like we're gonna have to move the bracket over. A lot of the intakes seem to kind of line right up. You just want to make sure that what you do is you line up the push rod, the actual rocker arm holder, and the valve, so you don't have a bunch of weird thrust angles put on your trunnion for your rocker. So most of the exhaust side ones we're going to have to move, but not a big deal. I'll get that knocked out and we'll be right back. Alright, next thing we're going to do is install our rockers. So I'm going to go through, we're going to put some of the engine assembly lube on the springs as well as the end of the push rod, just so everything's nice and lubricated. Alright, well, I know what everybody's thinking. There's something missing. And there is. A rocker. Obviously, with the delays we've had in this project, I forgot about the fact that one of these rockers is in the cup holder of the car right now, and the car is not here. The car is actually at work. And I am going to need to get that tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday for me. You guys will probably see this a week from now. But I'll have that, and then we'll continue on our video tomorrow night. But other than that, we have the rockers on. Once I have that last rocker, we'll go around and do the lashing. And that's another trick that I kind of came across from Derek at Vice Grip. You know, he does basically 2 rotations of the engine to get a base lash for everything. So you go through, starting at top dead center, tighten everything so everything doesn't have any play in it. Like this one, we would tighten it down. Okay, no more play. You go 90 degrees, check them all again, and then the next one that has play in it, you tighten it down. Until it doesn't have any play in it again, then you repeat that process through 2 revolutions of the crank. So we'll do that tomorrow once I get that last rocker in. Alright everybody, so it's a couple days later, but we're back. We've got that rocker that was in the car. It is now in the engine, so we're gonna go ahead and do our lash and everything today, and then we'll be able to move on. But the reason why we didn't get on this right away was because of what's sitting over there. That's right, we brought the foxbody home. It was at the shop. So we are getting a little deeper into this than we thought we were going to. So all of our suspension is going to be gone. Aaron decided to pull the trigger on getting a tubular cross member, some shocks, and some camber plates, and rear shocks, and I think there's a few other pieces. But this project just got a lot bigger, and I wasn't ready for it. But we're gonna get that stuff knocked out. We believe we're gonna have all the stuff here on Saturday, so that means Saturday night and Sunday we'll probably be working on the suspension and everything on the car. Hopefully the engine will be done. I'm waiting on a pilot bearing so we can actually mate the engine and transmission together, and then we should have all that stuff together and ready to go in the car. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do today is we're going to go ahead and lash these rockers. So what we're going to do is we'll turn this engine over, and this is another thing that I learned from Vice Grip. So we'll kind of take it in stride and use his stuff. Turn the crank 90 degrees, go till you have basically no lash, so that you can still turn your push rod nice and easy. You do that 2 full turns and everything should be at 0 lash. So we're going to do that, and we will basically just go over everything and make sure everything's good and tight, and then really valvetrain should be done. It's quick, simple, and should get us on the way to being completed with this. So I already have all these at basically 0 lash. Some of these are a little loose, but what we're going to do is we're basically going to turn the engine over 90 degrees, and we're going to go through and see which ones are loose again. And we'll just do that 2 full rotations of the crank, so all the valves will have cycled, and we'll be able to at that point run our locks down, and we should be good to go. So first 90, here's one that's loose. Run it down. We want to still be able to turn our rocker or our push rod. This one's a little, this one's loose. That one still has a lockdown on it. All right, another turn, another 90. Be in good shape there. Now I do believe we'll be giving these like a quarter turn and then locking them down. Alright, so we are at the point now where we're going to go ahead and do preload. So one of the things you need to make sure that you don't do is let the push rod compress the cup in your lifter, and at least when you're setting your zero lash. Now what we're going to do is basically push that down just a little bit. We're going to go half a turn on all of these, and it's just going to be a simple half turn on the nut. We're going to do that on every single one. Some of these are going to be a little more difficult because they are pushing a spring and a valve. Some of them are not, so it'll be a little easier. Now we're going to simply go through and just lock down. Alright, and there's our preload, and everything's locked down. Alright, so I went ahead and put the front cover and the oil pan on. Still have to do the water pump and water pump bolts and everything, but that is on. The last thing we're going to do tonight, I was going to prime this before I put the intake on, but I don't have a filter, so I can't do that right now. But I'm going to go ahead and put the intake on, and we will call it a night. Alright, so I went and put a little bit of the Permatex Ultra Gray. We're going to use that to make our ends as well. Put a little bit of this, drop it on here. This will also help hold the gasket in place, but around our water jackets we don't want it to leak, so putting a little bit of that on there. We'll put a little bit on this side as well for where it meets up with it. This Ultra Gray to also do my bead on the front and back edge instead of using the quart gaskets that it came with. and some brand new ARP bolts. Good. Alright, so here's a little look at what it'll look like when it's done. Got our 351 valve covers, even though it's a 408 now. Ran into a little bit of a clearance issue on this. We didn't have this issue on the old engine, but the rocker, I guess that would be the exhaust for cylinder number 6, for some reason is contacting the breather. Well, this is just the oil fill. We might end up just taking that piece off, but it's just sitting there riding right on the trunnion for that. So I guess we're gonna have to either modify that or something, because obviously it's not quite enough to let the bolt holes line up. It just doesn't go over far enough. So we'll have to figure something out there, but we will figure that out at a later time. Alright, so there we have it. We are in a position now where the engine's 90% done. I've got a couple more parts coming, and I also need to figure out that breather issue, so we'll get that figured out. We've got a bunch of suspension stuff coming for the car, so we're going to be putting that stuff in Saturday night and Sunday. Like I said earlier, we've got a K-member and some other suspension pieces coming, so we'll have that done, and hopefully that will allow us to fit our long tube headers in here. I think we're still going to have issues with our bell housing, but we'll see exactly how it goes in. We'll hope that it fits, and we will see if it fits together, and we'll see what happens on that. But thanks for watching. We will have more videos coming out on the foxbody soon. I think we might do a live while we're putting the engine in, or at least trying to start it. Probably starting it is going to be more of when we'll do the live, but we'll see how that goes. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Please hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you're not already subscribed. Definitely seeing some channel growth, really liking it, and thanks to everybody for subscribing. That is awesome. So thanks again. See you on the next one.